Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's story time. Now, I've got my coat on today because I'm going on a journey. I'm going on a journey with Moses and all of God's people. If you remember last week, the bad King Pharaoh finally agreed to let Moses take God's people out of Egypt. So here they are on their journey. They're going to the special land that God's promised them. But how are they going to know the way? Well, God had thought of that. And in the daytime, there was a big cloud that they could follow to show them the way to go. But when it got dark and you couldn't see the cloud anymore, there was a pillar of fire for Moses and God's people to follow. Well, one day they eventually came to the edge of the sea. There was a massive sea, and there was no way for them to cross it. It was too deep for them to walk through. They couldn't swim because it was too far. They had all their bags with them. They didn't have a boat, and there wasn't a bridge to go over. What were they going to do? While they were thinking, they started to hear a noise. It was getting louder. They turned and looked behind them. And oh no, it was Pharaoh's army chasing them, and they were getting closer. You see, back in Egypt, Pharaoh had just realized that all his workers had left. Who was going to do all the jobs now? Go and get them back, he ordered. And so the army was chasing through the desert, getting closer and closer to Moses and God's people. Oh no, they cried. What are we going to do now, Moses? Don't be afraid, said Moses. But there's nothing we can do, said the people. God knows there's nothing you can do, said Moses. God will do it. But there's no way out, said the people. God will make a way, said Moses. Trust him and watch. As Moses said those words, the big cloud that had been leading the way moved behind Moses and God's people. Suddenly, the army couldn't see them anymore. In fact, they couldn't see much of anything at all. Then Moses held his stick out over the water, and the waves moved to the side, making a pathway down the middle. And Moses and all of God's people were able to walk across to the other side. As soon as everyone had reached the other side, the sea came back together, so Pharaoh's army couldn't chase them anymore. You can imagine that God's people had a great big happy thank you God party on the other side. There was singing and there was dancing. Everybody was so happy. God had done it. God had made a way. To find out some more about what happens to Moses and all God's people next time. Join in our song, which is called Our God is a Great Big God. If you remember the actions, join in, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.